This is a forecast for 2025 that is mostly looking at where we are and how we even get to 2025. So this all came to me as a download, and I wanted to share this with you. So welcome, my name is Lydia. This is the Feng Shui and Bazi Chinese Astrology channel. Often on this channel, I like to read the charts of famous people because I think it helps us to better understand our own lives and our own charts. So welcome. If this is a topic that sparks interest for you, please subscribe, hit the bell so you don't miss a single video, and hit the like button if you've enjoyed the video. Stick with it. It's going to be an interesting one. And in a lot of ways, I think that this video is my wake-up call for all of us. The astrology that we are heading into, my friends, wow. This is such a time to be on the planet Earth and to be collectively experiencing what we are experiencing, and also recognizing that so much we're out of control of, and yet here we go. So this all came to me as a download the other night, and I got it down as best I could in my notepad. Let's see how this goes. So the year of the dragon, 2024, I see this as the Great Awakening. The year of the snake, 2025, is the Great Transformation. And we awaken in order to transform. One is necessary in order for the other to be. So when we look at both Western and Eastern astrology, there are correlations and notable similarities in the texture of this time. And what we are experiencing, I see as the grand climax. And I don't know about you. I'd love to, feel free to put a comment to this, but I don't know about you, but I am feeling in myself this rising anxiety, kind of that feeling. If you tend to be an anxious person, I tend to be an anxious person in certain situations, that there is this sense of uncertainty and a need to perhaps grab onto something that feels stable or familiar, even if it no longer serves you or the collective, right? And I think that's our natural human inclination, is in our survival, is if there is something going on where we don't feel stable, we grab onto what does seem stable, even if it no longer serves you or the collective. And that's how we can get stuck, really stuck, right? I don't want any change. I don't like how it is, but I don't know what the change is going to do, right? We've done that to ourselves. How many dead-end relationships have you stayed in because the idea of leaving it was scarier than staying? Yeah, like that. Like that. All right. So, and I have this written in a blog. That's why I'm reading from it, but I'm also, yeah. So I will put the link to the blog so that you can read through it. So as Pluto is now retrograding back into Capricorn for most of September, October, and into November, middle of November, we're reevaluating the patriarchal system, top-down authority, that 3D world, and so much of what we remember life to be before 2020. Yeah, it's really like a great review time. And since that year of the pandemic outbreak and everything that happened after that, we are very much, my friends, on the path to New Earth. And if New Earth is a new term for you, Google it, search. There's lots of really cool videos out there. There's some weird stuff too, as always. But use your discernment. Yeah, there's some pretty cool stuff out there. So 2024, the year of the Jade Dragon, aligns us with this, astrologically speaking. It lines us with transformation on a scale like no other time because of everything else collectively that's occurring both in the world and in the astrologies. And as I said at the beginning of this year, is that dragon is giving us permission to be magical, to be imaginative, to awaken, and to take a more assertive role in how you lead with innovation, creativity, and vision in order to reimagine our world in the 5D, the new earth. The dragon is shedding its scales. Think Puff the Magic Dragon. Yeah, that's probably one of my favorite songs. Puff the Magic Dragon, in a lot of ways, is where we are right now. Not kidding. Well, poor little Jackie Paper. Anyway, so the dragon, it's shedding its scales. Look at what is falling apart. Look at what is falling apart. All the war, all the dismantling. Have you ever seen a presidential candidate go on stage with great fanfare and fireworks, get on the stage and shake hands with another presidential candidate and say, "I'm joining up with you"? You ever see that happen? I haven't seen that happen. All right. So I don't go off on tangents like I can do. Here we go. So the dragon is shedding its scales. And remember, the dragon has the feet of the rooster and the skin of a snake. In that the dragon reminds us of the importance to collaborate, to partner, to co-create, and to come into communities that are inclusive, diverse, and just. Why? Because that's how it should always have been. When you look at tribal nations where people sit in circle and tell stories and share, there is no sitting around the circle saying, "You're too different, you're too this, you're not enough that, so we're going to exclude you." No, it's a circle, and we all sit in the circle. All right. So we take all of that and supplant it into an election year. This is what I said at the beginning of this year, like, oh my God, an election year and the year of a dragon? What could go right? What could go wrong? What could go sideways? And just stir that up in all the astrology at play for each candidate and the country, the United States itself. And you have one of the most chaotic, unpredictable situations possible. And after the month of October, which brings the election on the second to last day, because November 8th is the first day of November, according to the Chinese lunar calendar. And that's the calendar upon which all of Bazi astrology is built upon. And after Pluto stations direct in Aquarius for the rest of our lifetimes, we begin to move forward towards 2025. Wow. I know. The last year of the snake was 2013. I know. Here we go. Take a pause. 2013, friends. Take some time to journal, to sit in whatever spiritual way you sit and contemplate what it was for you 12 years ago. What in your life then, within your own inner landscape, was going through great change and transformation? And the snake speaks of discerning, feeling, sensing, awakening, knowing, intuiting, transforming, transcending, shedding, releasing, ripping off the Band-Aid, stripping you down layer by layer, changing, and all of this to awaken your third eye and our connection to God and the universe. Now I will just insert here that 2013 was a year that I embraced some of the change. Got my second divorce started to happen that year. But there were other changes that came that year that very much felt like I wasn't accepting enough of all the changes that were happening, and they were multi-layer. And it was painful as hell because it felt like somebody was ripping my skin off. But at the end of that year, I found myself in a new home, in a new relationship, and starting my life all over again. As we do, right? As we do. How many of us stay in the same house with the same partner, for 50, 60 years? I don't know many people like that. So many souls are leaving. Many souls are leaving. And for many different reasons do we see so much death in our world. But many souls are also arriving. And this is, I spent the last 18 years up until 2020. This is about 15, 16 years. I spent in schools and daycares teaching mindfulness yoga programs. And I can tell you that in that time, I saw a surge of autism and neurodiversity and gender identification changing with these small children. It was startling. And I saw the aftermath damage done to children after the pandemic, the level of entitlement, the level of sensitivity, because our children are coming in so awake and they are crystallined. They are crystal. They are coming in more sensitive. And our education system in this country is a toxic horror of what I experienced for my daughter, what I witnessed from private schools to public schools for these children. It needs to be quieter. It needs to be more open to children being able to lead themselves in how they learn, letting go of grades, letting go of achievements and award ceremonies. Oh my God, the damage these things do. And the idea that we aren't striving for those things, we're striving to learn and to get kids outside. Most of their day could be learning outside, but let's come back. So these light-filled beings are going to be here for space travel. You see, SpaceX just made a launch of people like you and me up in space. This is our future. It is going to be so fast. Do you remember 20 years ago, did we have cell phones? No. And look at where we are now. Just in 20 years. It's not going to take 20 years before, you give us 10 years, we'll be in space. Where are you going this summer? I'm going to go zip around something. Mars, I don't know. It's kind of cool. And the explosion of AI and how that's going to transform our workplace. And professions. Some professions are going to completely disappear. And are we okay with that? What happens to those people with those talents? And all the robotics and other technologies that are going to transform so much of the way that we work and live on an ever-changing, hotter planet. So that brings me to the fact that the year of the snake is yang fire. And there's yin wood sitting on top, which is kind of like kindling. So the kindling hardly can keep up with a fire that strong. And inside the fire is a little earth and a little metal. Because, when the fire is finished burning, you have ash, and ash creates the metal, like crystals. So this is the return of fire. We haven't had fire. I had to actually go to my 4pillars.net program that I use to look and see when was our last year of fire. It was 2017, 8 years ago. Fire, traditionally, in the 5 elements, speaks of optimism, happiness, booming economies, and growth, and abundance, and prospering. Markets go up, more people have wealth, and there's a lot of opulence. Let's see if that is something that's going to be able to play itself out, because in the United States, a whole lot is going to depend on this election. So the question to ask yourself, pull it all back, because we are so quick to look forward, we forget and miss where we are. And where we are is changeable by the day. We just had a former president go through not 1, but 2 assassination attempts in like less than a month. These are unprecedented times. So now the question to ask yourself is, what have you done with the energies at play in 2024? What did you create? Put it in the comments. What did you create this year? I'd love to know. What groovy stuff have you been working on? What did you dream, imagine, innovate? How have you led your life, work, family, relationships, your home? This year, I launched into a brand new career as a grief ceremonialist, as a retreat spirit guide out here at my home. I left very much a lot of the world because I no longer felt safe in it after the last 4 years and everything that I have. I'm really proud of myself for everything I've survived. And I came here in nature to heal. And as I've been healing, I have the supreme honor of welcoming women here, and through the practices of yoga, meditation, and nature, we heal together. Yeah. And this feels like God's work. So that's what I've been up to this year. All right. So 2025 asks us to consider what we are ready to shed and strip away. What are you ready to reveal that's hidden under the layers of old patterns of thinking, being, relating, and living? What do you know with a capital K? How are you developing your psychic abilities through prayer and meditation or earthing in nature? How are you serving the betterment of humanity in some inspiring or purposeful way? Because I know for me, I don't even want to be here if I'm not serving. If I am not doing something like even these videos, if I don't have some nugget of wisdom to impart on you in my videos or in the retreats that I host, the Feng Shui consultations I do, the astrology charts that I divine for people like you, why am I here? I'm not here just to take and receive and experience. I'm here for a collaborative experience of healing, of growth and inspiration. And, developing your psychic ability is simply allowing yourself to listen, not to me, not to the noise of our world. Turn it all off. Turn it off. More and more people are going to be leaving social media. It just is numbing. It serves so little. If we turn inward through prayer, through meditation, earthing in nature, meaning walking out in nature, sitting with a tree, walking in the woods, climbing a mountain, putting your hands in the earth and planting something, anything. Listen within to your own inner voice that maybe for a long, long time you've tuned it out so that you could listen to everybody else's voice and everybody else's opinion of what you're supposed to be doing and being. And now's the time to sit, just you. Sit in a bathtub, sit on a meditation cushion, sit on a pile of dirt, and ask yourself, what do you have to tell me today? My dearest, dearest friend, what do you have to tell me today? And begin to take note, start journaling. What am I hearing? What am I feeling? Listen to the voice inside of yourself and start paying attention to the guidance that is coming through your guides, your guardians, your angels, your beings of light who are always with you. They're trying so hard to get you to pay attention. Like that tapas that I experienced in 2013, that I experienced in the last 4 years, all of that. At the end, which was a year ago, August, actually probably more like July 2023, when everything in my life completely imploded, was that the time that I realized I really couldn't hang on to anything anymore. And I went like this. Watch the whole thing fall apart. Some of it my fault, some of it, a lot of it not. And then you come into the quiet. You retreat into the quiet to realign, to reassess. How are you serving the betterment of humanity in some inspiring or purposeful way through your own healing journey? This is a profound time. Work with the astrology and you will find yourself dancing with the energies. Ignore it or resist it, and you may suffer the Band-Aid being ripped off. And you see your life cleansed layer by layer. And again, that was my 2013. And in yoga, we call this tapas. It's pain, real life pain that teaches you. Always, always. Every single pain that we experience in life is there as a teachable moment. And if you sit with that, honestly, sit with yourself with that, you'll see it. And in that, maybe you can forgive yourself or others. It's not always about that, though. Sometimes it's just taking the lesson. And as we move forward, can we gain greater discernment in our ability to recognize truth outside of the slant of the internet? You can search any hot topic and find video. And I did this recently after a big fight with my boyfriend because he had heard a news story and said, this is true. And I said, that's ridiculous. So I went on the internet. And what I found was so upsetting. It was so like, this is like the way that our internet is set up, our world is set up right now. There's two different realities at least. And depending on which reality you're plugged into, that's your truth. That's your life. And you could have your partner, a dear friend, a family person, somebody at the office, all kinds of different people who are looking at a different story and have a different reality and a different truth. And in that, you have completely polarized our world, our communities, our families, our relationships over the dumbest stuff. And we're seeing right now a city imploding over one story that a woman put on Facebook. And this is the craziest stuff. This is the crazy thing to me. Do you remember playing telephone when you were a kid? You all sit in a big circle, like a slumber party activity. I used to do this with my kids in yoga camp to learn the teaching of Satya, truthfulness. How do you know the truth? You go to a reliable source. That used to be the newspaper a long time ago. And even now I start to wonder, was it the truth? Anyway, you go to a reliable source. So we would sit in a circle, and let's just use this lady, and she made a Facebook post about a rumor she'd heard. A rumor. So she makes this outlandish statement, and it goes around. And you always, at the end, as you go around the circle, whatever that story started out as comes out different in the end. And that's one of the things that it came to my mind. But when you see a news story that is taken out of context by political figures, thrown all over the internet, all the reactions, all it exploded all over the internet. This one crazy story, as if this was the most important thing going on our planet right now. And then they've got school closings, bomb threats. This is dangerous. This information that we are swimming in all of this stuff, it's dangerous, guys. And at the end of the day, I swear to God, I strip all this news and all this stuff back. You know what I ask of all of us? Whatever you're looking at, whatever you're filling your brain and your heart and your spirit with, check with yourself and ask, is it kind? And is it serving me in a healthy way to be looking at this and actually believing that things like this could be happening in a little town or a big town or wherever? It breaks my heart. So as we move forward, Perhaps we should go back to the days of community where we sat in circles and shared stories of our day that are relevant to our neighborhood or our city. Remember town halls? Remember when people would gather in church after church and we would talk about what we were doing in the community? That somebody was sick and who was going to bring them food? Or somebody needed something built, and so a whole bunch of people volunteered to go over and build that. How do we come back to reality when the internet has reality in such a skewed, sideways, disoriented way? It is very disorienting. I can't imagine being a young person in this world of technology. Yeah. And going forward, astrology, tarot, and other forms of divination will be our allies because they are at their core objective. And I have said this in all the political videos that I have made, that it has to be objective, or it is not good astrology. And I have deleted videos that I have made and redone them over and over to make sure that it does not sound slanted. I might get excited because I think, whoa, that's cool astrology, or whoa, what a great pairing. But that excitement does not equal support. So yeah, there is so much to be said about the year of the green snake. But for now, let's try to survive the last 4 months of this dragon year. And when we take in all that's happened in our world, one thing you can know is that tomorrow is bringing us closer to a bright new time. And it may come with some chaos and upheaval, but on the other side, I do believe we will be in a new frontier, much like any change that we go through. It's scary, it can be uncomfortable, but it is a tremendous global growth opportunity. And where are we going from here? Where are you going from here? Where am I going from here? So stay curious, friends. More to come. And later this week, I will be posting an update on the 2025 forecast for the biggest war stories in the news, what's going on with Ukraine and Russia for 2025, and what's happening in Gaza and the Israelis. So check in for that more later. And until next time, friends, be well.